Welcome back. I'm Connie Sokol, your host, and I have such a fun series. If you haven't listened to any of the others, I so invite you to do so. I am interviewing these beautiful, fantastic, incredible, spiritually grounded, and purpose-filled women who are part of the Disciple Thought Leadership Circle. What is that, you say? It is my circle that I invite women who want to do and use their talents and abilities for good for him to come together and synergize together to be able to create something bigger, better, faster, stronger, more amazing, and more fulfilling together instead of all doing it on our own. And then we all put this talents and abilities into this one big, beautiful soup, spiritual soup, and do it for him and serve it up to those who want that deliciousness. Are you hungry now? You should be. All right. So today's beautiful guest is Angela Ingo. Angela, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
It's so fun. I get to be with these amazing ladies every week. It's just such a stinking joy. But I wanted her to come on and share today because sometimes we think, I want to share my talents and abilities, but one, I don't know how. Two, I don't even know if anybody thinks it would be cool. I don't even know if I have anything to share. I don't even know if I'm an expert. I'm not. I don't even know what to do, but I know I want to do something that shines my light for him, right? But I don't know how to do it. So let's walk you through this experience that Angela has had. And her particular thing is interior design. So let's start back at the very beginning, a very good place to start. Let's start with Angela, you have now been in this DTLC, the Disciple Thought Leadership Circle. You've been in here for a few months. You have been able to come to a retreat, started off like, I'm here, I've got these pieces, but I want to move forward. Take us back to kind of how you even got interested in design. And then when did it kind of pop into you? You're like, I really want to help other people learn these principles to create a beautiful life. Like, take us back to where this started for you.
Well, I guess I'd have to say, in college, I did graphic design,
Mm.
and I always wanted to do something creative. And I've always kind of had this little creative thread that's gone through my life. And I felt like a way to use that in college was do graphic design. So I got into graphic design and did that for a few years. It was just when the whole computer thing was starting, and everything was done on the computer. I did that for a few years, and sitting in front of a computer all day is not my deal. So
Not connecting.
I'm like, then I had kids and life went along, and I was doing a few creative things here and there, and started, I had my own house, started doing a few things at my own house. My sister was moving. She said, hey, can you come and help me kind of make my house look a little better? And it just sort of evolved like that. Friends and family members wanted help with a few things with their house. And I started realizing, I really like this. And it's different every time I go. It's not like you're just at the computer doing your thing. It's like different houses, different stuff, different things were needed. And it was like a unique experience every time.
Mm.
And it was just like, so like it filled me up with this like energy to just like, what else can we do? What else can we do? And I flew out to I was out at my brother's house in Georgia visiting for some reason. His wife was gone for something, and he said, let's just like redo things. So we redid, and she didn't care because she doesn't love that stuff. So we redid the house, and I was like, oh, this is like my deal. I love this. So that's kind of how it started. Then I started the process of turning it into a business, and that's why I've been doing that for years, probably about 15 years. I've been helping people in their own houses, doing some staging for people that are selling houses. And it really is fun. So I really got to this point where the piece that I love the most is helping those that are trying to figure it out and they're not quite sure what to do.
And you were genius at it. She helped me like personally. I think I'm thinking about our listeners right now, and they're thinking, oh, wow, that's so cool. And I wish I loved design, and yay, wait, how can I get a hold of her? Because I don't love design. Right. And I'm thinking, sometimes we think our talents are just so like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is so normal. This is what I do. It's not a big deal. But for those of us that were not born with the interior design gene, we are so grateful for people like you that love this. Like, I would never say that fills my soul, but I love that when I had my office, and I don't know if anybody out there listening can relate to this, but I had this space, this office, and it was the dumping place. It was where all the seasonal wrap went and all the books we didn't know what to do with and all the stuff and toys and whatever, and just kind of got shoved in this room. And it was supposed to be the room that I was going to work in, right? And do all this wonderful stuff for my business. And it wasn't until you came in and you showed me the principles of design. And the reason why I share this is because this is something that you've really honed in on, is teaching people, like you were just saying, not just, I want to come in and do your thing and do a job and then go and blah, blah, blah. But I can see and feel the teaching part of it, that you made me more aware of, okay, you want to do these 3 points in the room. You want to do this kind of way of coordinating colors. And so that when we actually went shopping together, I found myself picking out pieces that you actually said, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work really good. And that made me feel so good. I felt golden. I felt I'd learned something. So tell me about this teaching piece. What's that been like for you? What do you find is some of the best ways that or experiences that you've had in teaching people? What's that been like?
Oh, I used to teach a class, and I had all these before and after photos of regular people's houses, using the majority of the things we had were in their house already. It was in different places. We'd shop the house, pull things from one room or another. But I think that experience, teaching people with these before and after photos of regular people's houses, because you'll see beautiful
Great
homes,
homes.
beautiful rooms all the time, but you're like, but that's not my house. How can I make my house feel good? How can I make it feel better? And so I would show them before and after pictures, and we would talk about what made the difference. What do you see that's different from this one, from the other? We'd go back and forth, and we'd talk about specific principles. And as we did that, the people would be so, they just felt so like they were more empowered to do something. They felt like, I'm so grateful you showed us regular rooms and told us some very specific things, and we could look at the pictures before and after and see what made the difference. And that helped us then be able to also assimilate that and understand that, oh, well, I have lamps in my house. I could put 3 in a room in a triangle pattern, and all of a sudden the room feels different than it did before when you had one lamp in the corner that you never turned on. So I think the process of teaching people, and they get these little light bulb moments and recognize that they have some knowledge now. They can go home and do something that's pretty simple. And of course, there's more and more things you can do and more things to understand. But
Sure.
I think, to me, the thing that's so exciting is teaching people. Everybody lives in something. I mean, the majority of us have some place to live. And if you can do something to make it feel more comfortable and inviting and the place you want to hang out with your family, I mean, that's a win. That's a good thing.
Totally. And what you do, I mean, again, going back to, oh, it's just a simple thing. This is just what I do. But the impact, the domino effect, I'm hearing you and I'm seeing it in my own life, where you just came over and you were helping me to do kind of the back patio. Like, how can we extend the space so we can create a family environment space that adds on to square footage, but it's an outdoor space, right? But really make it user friendly, because it's out there, but we don't spend a lot of time out there, but we could. And I love this point that you're like, people, the environment that you live in is so important, and it impacts in so many ways. What are some other ways that you've seen when you help somebody's environment up level? What are some of the other domino effects that you've seen or impact in their lives or their relationships?
It's so interesting. I had a woman, we redid her living area, her living room, her main living room area. And she said, no one ever went in that room before.
Yeah.
And we went in and just moved a few things around, turned on a few lamps, adjusted some pillows, bought a couple of things from a different space. And I talked to her a couple of weeks later, and she said, my kids are all hanging out in the front living room. They never were there before. What was it? What? We did something that made the difference. And so there are some simple things. There's some design principles and some simple tips and interesting little nuggets that will help just people in general, women in general, because generally we're the ones that are trying to make the house feel a little bit more at home. I just had a woman whose daughter is turning 12 and, or actually turning 14. And she wanted some help with sprucing up this room because it had bunk beds and old bedding and it just was not.
A
She
14-year.
did, yeah, she's growing up. She wanted something a little bit nicer, a little bit. She went on Pinterest and found a few pictures of things she was interested in. And so we were able to look at that and then make some purchases because this was one you wouldn't do with what you had already because she was ready to up level, ready to like change it out a little. And we were able to bring in these pieces. Some of them she already had, but we had to bring in some new pieces and add these different principles. And all of a sudden, this bedroom is like, wow. She wants, and her mom was saying, you know what? You'll find us upstairs in Hazel's room because that's where we all hang out now.
Oh, I love, is that the one that you showed me a few weeks ago? The boho looking one?
Yes, it's the boho
Oh,
one with all of the white and the really pretty curtains and the textures and the wood. Yeah.
oh my gosh. We will put Angela's contact information on the show notes, but you've got to see those pictures. I was floored. I didn't recognize the room as the same room. And I was like, oh my gosh, my 16-year-old would love to be in that. Like just cozy, warm,
Yeah.
relaxed. And it's amazing. The few different things can change that environment. And I love that your focus is so much on helping people sort of like lift where you stand, like improve where you are. You don't need to move. You don't need to whatever. Use what you have, make it happen right here. So coming into this whole kind of DTL thing, you've been doing this for years, you've been helping people, but then when we were talking, you're kind of feeling this shift, just this
Yeah.
rumble of, I want to do it differently. I want to do something a little bit more intentional, but what does that look like? Take us through that shift.
Oh gosh. It's probably been going on for a year and a half, 2 years, maybe,
Oh,
trying to figure out. I know I'm supposed to be doing something different than the way I'm doing it. What is that? And we'd had many discussions and time had gone on and, I was doing things for clients here and there. And I love doing that, but I felt this nudge, this push to be like looking for something else. And I wasn't sure what it was. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to do something completely different than the design stuff I'd been doing. And we were having dinner one night and you were telling me about what you were doing. And all of a sudden it's like this click of like, I can take this thing I know how to do and that I do well, and I can focus it a little bit differently. And all of a sudden it opens up this whole different perspective, this whole different way of using these gifts and talents I have to bless so many more lives in ways that aren't just one-on-one, me and the client.
mm,
So we're just going to making this woman's house or room beautiful and nicer, but in using this whole DTL thing, it gives us the opportunity to move bigger and broader and allows people to have an experience of doing some creative. Once they learn a few of these creative things that I can share with them, their lives can be improved and they can have the joy of creating in their own space and feel like they were able to do something. And it wasn't this big, gargantuan, difficult thing to do. And it was some simple, basic steps that all of a sudden they are
changes.
ready to like take some steps.
Yes. And I loved, oh my gosh, I love that you were at a place. I remember you saying, I want to get this out to more people. Like I want to teach these principles to more people, but it's so exhausting to even think about like trying to do more than what you're already doing. And we were talking about, well, then let's do it simpler. Let's do it more effectively, right? So that you can have higher impact, but still keep the intimacy, still keep that one-on-one experience of doing homes that you want to do, but then also be able to reach more people who want these concepts and just know not where to find them, right? I love it. In fact, I have to say, full disclosure, we were at that dinner. We had talked a couple of times and I've been watching her sort of like spin the wheels, spin the emotional wheel. But I'm like, I'm not saying anything because I don't want her to think that I've got an agenda, right? And we're dear friends. So I'm like, I'm not saying anything about what I'm doing. I'm not saying anything. And inside I'm like, she needs to do this. So we're finally at dinner one night and I'm like, okay, I just have to tell you, I really think that you should look into this. And it's been amazing. She came to the retreat in January and then boom, already in this amount of time, I can't even believe that the amount of work that you've had, the amount of ideas and joys and doing your branding and all of these things and opening up to online courses and things that 6 months ago you would have been like, boo. But because connecting and we're having women help you and you've got people you can go to and all of that, the thing that for people listening that I want them to understand is when you involve others, and it doesn't, choose the people you want to involve, but when you start involving other people who know these pieces, suddenly it's not so hard. It's still, you still got to do the work, but it's not like you're doing it by yourself and that you don't have anyone to guide you. You've got the guidance, you know what to do, and then it's just a matter of doing it. And then being able to have other people help you along the way and celebrate as you go. How has the experience been for you with synergizing with the other women and things like that?
That part is really big because when I was doing my business before, it was just me. It
Mm.
was me doing everything. And, I would connect with the people that I'm working with, the clients that I was working with, but I was doing all the other pieces on my own. So having a group of women that you can talk through different pieces, you can really help each other to we're in different places and we're doing different things, but we're all doing it with a specific purpose. And so really you're there with each other and it gives you this amazing opportunity to feel like you're a part of something. And because we connect weekly through Zoom, and then there's opportunities when we meet in person, oh my gosh, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I love you people because you are my people. You are my it just feels so good to be part of something that's bigger than your own thing. And you've got other people out there, these other good, sweet, amazing, smart, and talented women that share with you their thoughts and insights. And it's very, very, it just feels doable.
Mm. And it's so joyful. I love when everyone's sharing what they've learned and then their learning moments or their wins or whatever. I agree. I think what I'd love for people listening is create that environment. You can do it with us, you can do it yourself, you can do it with others, like whatever your group is. But this being able to have these like-minded conversations with women, in the sense when I say like-minded, meaning we are all purpose-filled driven, right? We're all like, I have a purpose for doing this that's higher than just I want 200,000 followers to sell soap, right? That's not
Right.
the purpose. So the purpose behind it is for him. So what does that look like? So there's no competition between each other. It's all in the soup bowl of, well, it's for him. So my little bit's going to be, she's going to add on, she's going to add on. And I have loved watching how it's that whole Quaker proverb that says, I'll lift thee and thee lift me and we'll ascend together. That's exactly what I see week after week of everyone helping each other ascend. So for those listening, I so invite you to create that network of people who the like-mindedness is that purpose driven. And then we add on that faith element, that absolute belief in Christ and Heavenly Father, to be able to know why we're doing what we're doing. And like you said, there's such a diversity of personalities and the things that they're moving forward, DIY crafts, and someone's doing a garden and somebody else is doing, people helping people in third world countries. And I mean, it's just so beautifully diverse. And yet we all come together on those common threads. I love it. If there are women out there that are listening and they're thinking, I so feel a rumble, I feel this need to shift, I feel something, but I don't know what it looks like and I'm scared. What thoughts and advice would you give to them to be able to kind of address that and do something about it?
But there is nothing like having a group of like-minded people.
Mm.
And for us, it's like-minded women that are moving forward, doing something bigger than ourselves. And it just makes all of it more joyful. It makes all of it more doable. It makes because there's definitely ups and downs and ups and downs in this process. And when one person's down, someone else is up, and you have people to really turn to and really help you kind of as you're, moving forward and trying to figure it out. And it just makes such a difference to have that underlying common thread that we all know we're all doing it with a specific purpose. It's really purpose driven, and we're not just doing it to just have this big amazing business, but we're doing it to share the gift and talents which we have, and share in a way that can touch other people and bless their lives. And it's just so much more meaningful than putting together a business.
Mm. Oh, I so agree. And that does make all the difference. It sounds like a slight difference, maybe, but it makes all the difference. That whole why behind what it is and the approach of it does make all the difference. Well, let's kind of wrap up here. For those that are listening, the whole goal behind this is that if you hear these things, maybe it will touch a part of you that you're feeling this rumble and you're like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. But look, she did it and she didn't have any clue what she was doing. And she's loving it and she's being successful. Maybe I can do it. Is there one thing that you know now that you didn't know about 8 months ago when we were sitting at that dinner? I think it was last fallish, something like that, November, December, somewhere in there, but it was somewhere in there, October, November, December. Is there something that you know now that is beautiful and wonderful that you know now that you did not know then that you haven't shared yet?
I would have to say that it's okay for me to take these things that I love to do, that I get so much energy and feel so much passion about being part of my life. I can use that thing and be a force for good and be a light for others, to help them recognize there are things they can do. And I can do it in a way that is doing it for him. I can do it in a way that it's not just for me. And I think that's the difference this time, because before it was just, I'm doing this thing I like doing, and but it has just a different perspective on it now, which makes all the difference, because then it makes all these pieces that are up and down, up and down. It's okay. I'm doing this for a bigger purpose. And it feels so, it just feels peaceful. It feels like, it just feels right. Like this, you're on the right path. You're going the right direction, and you're using the thing that you do well. And that's what's so beautiful about this, is so many of us have our own very unique gifts and talents. And if you can figure out a way to take that thing that you do so well and have a bigger picture with that, how beautiful is that? That makes it so much more meaningful.
Mm, I love that. Love that. And I've watched that as everyone has navigated that they've kept that feel, they have that feel. And as we're being mom ands and still focusing on our families and doing these pieces, that God makes it all work together for our good and for the good of others. That's what's so beautiful to me. And those promises are sure. And I love how you said that it feels right, like I'm on the right path. And that
Yes,
rumble is not there of, I don't know. It's more of, okay, now I'm taking the next step and I don't know what this is. Please help me through it, figure it out, YouTube it. But I know I'm on the right path. And that makes it all, like you said, okay.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us today. Oh my gosh, I wish we had time to do more because this is so yummy. I know there's so many stories. But if people want to get a hold of you, want to ask you interior design questions, I know you got lots of tips and things that you can help them with. What's the best way for them to reach you?
You can reach me on my email, which is aingo33@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, Ingo, or on Facebook, Angela Anderson Ingo. I'm in
What?
the process of getting my name all situated, and I'm changing it up a little. So I'm doing something different than I was doing before. So I'm in the process of that. But you can find me on my regular name on those social media sites.
Love it. And then stay tuned for the new up level. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much. And as always, if you love this kind of content, rate, review, and subscribe below because we have more beautiful women coming on and telling their stories so that it can inspire you to keep writing your story. So check it out. Anything you need, as always, is at conniesokol.com. TV segments, our free downloads, Find Your Purpose Challenge, all those beautiful things about our retreats, about our coaching. You can check it out, conniesokol.com, because we want to help you be able to take the next step in living your purposeful, organized, and joyful life for Him.